If you're like me and you've already collected all of the released fighters, I think it's time for you to check out some custom fighters. So today we're gonna check out Batman. And here he is, Batman. Just look at this figure. Absolutely gorgeous. This guy is from the Meeple Smith. I got him on eBay for about $6. He looks fantastic. He definitely looks like he is from the game. They do such a great job matching the style of the miniatures. But I do want to quickly compare him with one of the other greatest detectives from Unmatched, old Sherlock Holmes here. And yeah, they nailed it. It looks exactly like it is from the game. This one is definitely a little bit lighter, but it's just because he's missing the dark wash that Sherlock has here. But the proportions of the base here are the exact same, as well as the thickness and everything. But yeah, he looks fantastic. And of course, in Unmatched, you get your sidekick, so we have to check out Batman's sidekick, none other than Robin. And this guy I actually had custom made from makeboardgames.com. I'll leave a link down there. And I just got a nice image of Robin here and had it printed on both sides. I will say this one is definitely a lot less accurate to Unmatched. If we look at Watson here, it is quite a bit thicker, as well as just also a little bit bigger around there. But on the board, it serves the purpose and definitely, lets you know that that's the sidekick for Batman there. It does a good job. And then before we also look at the deck here, I can also show you these health dials I had made. These ones are also from makeboardgames.com. It is just the 1.5" cardboard punch outs, and then I used some of these spare little pieces in the middle, these little plastic pieces from Unmatched, and then I just had a X-Acto knife that will cut out there. But as I said, when you're playing, it definitely serves the job. It doesn't look as nice as the original ones. We can take a look over here. Mine is a little bit smaller, proportionally wise, but it definitely serves the purpose, and I'm not complaining here. We can also look at Robin's real fast. Robin's, I think, honestly, I like just a little bit better, a little bit easier to see the Robin, and of course, those two hanging out. But yeah, let's take a look at the deck here. This one is from unmatched.decks, and this one specifically is from Mr. 11 here. The only thing I did not like about his deck, which is just kind of a personal issue, is the card back that he used. This is what it looks like there. So I replaced it with another deck's card back that I liked a little bit more. This one is from Jack North. I will link both of the decks that they made in the description there. But let's take a look. So Batman here is a melee fighter with 12 health, with a move of 2, and Robin is also melee with 6 health. So 18 total if you had to, move all the way through him. Let's look at his ability here. It says, at the end of your turn, if Batman did not attack, choose an opponent, and that opponent chooses one card from their hand and puts it in their contingency plan. We might be asking, what the heck is a contingency plan? That's where our extra rules card here comes in. It says, a player's contingency plan is a face-up collection of their cards, which sits in front of them. Cards in player's contingency plan are considered to be a part of that player's hand and must be played face up. Cards in opponent's contingency plan cannot be chosen to discard for the purposes of maintaining hand limit or to fulfill effects of their cards. They can be discarded by effects on Batman's cards. So that's kind of a mouthful, but basically what that just means is that every time Batman adds a card to their contingency plan, they just, let's grab Sherlock's cards here for example. So if I had to add this card to my contingency plan, that card would lay face up on the table. It would still be a part of my hand of 3 here, but if I were to use this to attack the opponent, I would have to still play it face up, so they know what it's going to be. And honestly, I think it's pretty thematic for Batman. Basically what it is that he's studying his opponent. He was not attacking them, he was holding back, and he is just watching and learning what they're doing. So whenever they plan to use that attack, he already knows what it is, and he can plan for it. And there's quite a few cards in his deck that go with that. So we can look at Batman's cards first, the cards that are specific to him and his attacks. So the first one here is Interrogation, and it says, after combat, your opponent adds 1 card to their contingency plan. If you won the combat, they add 2 cards instead, and we have 3 copies of that. So yeah, 3 more cards you can add to their contingency plan. So just more information and more, less bluffing that the opponent's going to be able to do. So that's 3 of his attack cards there. And then Justice is served, another Batman card for 5 attack and 2 boost. If your opponent has a defense or versatile card in their contingency plan, then you may play this card face up. If you do, choose one of those cards for them to defend with. So there you go. It's going to be using those cards in their contingency plan. We get 2 of these. And it says if they were, a defense or versatile. So basically, you could attack them with 5, and let's say you had a regroup in their contingency plan that you can see, you just get to basically attack them for 4. So that's pretty good. So we get 2 of those. So 5 specific attack cards for Batman. And then looking at his first defense here for specifically Batman, it's a 3 defense with 2 boosts. It says down but not out. Immediately, if Batman's health is 3 or less, he recovers 2. After combat, Batman moves up to 3 spaces. So a little bit of health here. You have 2 of these, so 4 health to recover, but you do have to be at 3 or less. And then lastly here for the Batman specific cards, this is his first versatile card. You got 2 of these. It's a 0 with a boost of 2. It says this card's effects cannot be canceled. So kind of reminiscent of Sherlock's deck there. Immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card, so a feint of 0. And during combat, this card's value is +2 for each card in your opponent's contingency plan. So we've already seen a couple of cards and his ability that can add contingency there. And you got 2 of these, so at max, if the opponent's entire hand was contingency, that would be a 14, and it cannot be canceled. So that these hit hard. And then another versatile here for Batman is a 3 with a boost of 2, outnumbered. This card's value is +1 for each opposing fighter in Batman's zone. So definitely really good with any, opposing fighters that are going to have a bunch of minions. So like Medusa or Squirrel Girl there. If he has all 8 Squirrel Girls around him, then this is going to be an 11. So pretty freaking good. And we have 3 of these. Then it looks like here we go. These are Batman specific schemes. And this is Oracle with a boost of 4. And that's pretty good. Now, I don't know if he has too many boosts, available cards in his deck, but that'll be really good if he does. And it says, look at your opponent's hand and choose one effect to either discard one of your opponent's cards or add 2 to your opponent's contingency plan. We get 2 of these. So that's interesting. So, discarding 1 card is pretty good because it's out of they have 1 less card in their hand and they don't get to use it. But adding 2 to their contingency plan is pretty good because obviously with the other cards that use that, but they still get to keep those 2 cards. They're just now face up. So interesting. Another scheme for Batman. This is the Bat Computer with a boost of 1. We have 2 of these. It says look at the top 4 cards of your opponent's deck and then put 1 card in their discard, 1 card on the bottom of their deck, 1 card on top of their deck, and 1 in their contingency plan. So that's pretty crazy. They are grabbing it from their deck, so actually do basically get to draw a card because once it goes in their contingency plan, it's considered a part of their hand. But you are discarding 1. So basically, they get to draw 1, they get to discard 1, and then you put 2 back in their deck, 1 on top, 1 on bottom. But that 1 on the bottom of their deck is pretty interesting because it's basically saying that you cannot use this card until the game ends. So that's pretty cool. We have 2 of these. Next, another scheme for Batman. So he has quite a few schemes here. This is Gordon and the GCPD, the Gotham City Police Department. This is a boost of 2 with 2 copies. And it says, choose an opponent until the start of your next turn. Any cards that opponent draws are placed in their contingency plan. Gain 1 action. So it's pretty good. So it's a free card. You gain an action right after you use it. And it basically means that any cards they're drawing next turn, they just have to keeping them face up so you know what it is, and they have to keep it face up when they attack. So that's actually really interesting. I would think definitely if I were to use this card, I would probably use my turn to run away and then play this card, meaning that they have to maneuver twice and draw twice to even get close to me, meaning that they're just basically automatically adding 2 cards in their hand. So we got 2 of those, and that's the last of our Batman specific cards. So let's quickly look at what Robin here can do. He has an attack of 2 with a boost value of 3, and then there's 2 of these in the deck. Reckless Charge. During combat, if Robin started his turn in a non-adjacent space to the opposing fighter, this card's value is 2. If the opposing opponent defended with a card from their contingency plan or didn't defend, this card value is +2. So interesting. So there's 2 times it's going to add +2, so it could be a max of 6. It's kind of like Momentous Shift, where you cannot start in the same spot. But it says if Robin started his turn in a non-adjacent. So it's basically just momentous shift, but instead of that +2, you get +2, but you also get another +2 if they defend or not defend at all, but using their contingency plan there. So it could be a 6. So hey, a 6 for a Sidekick, pretty good. He has 2 of those. And another Robin specific card here, an attack of 2, boost of 3, another higher boost value here. I haven't seen any boost, useful cards, but let's see. The last ditch effort. During combat, this card's value is +1 for each health that Robin is missing. After combat, if you won the combat, recover 2 health, otherwise take 1 damage. Okay, interesting. So Robin has a max health of 6 here, so he could be all the way down to 1, meaning 5. So this could be a 7. But if you win it, you get 2, but if you lose, you take a damage. So they could potentially, have a higher than 7 defense, which honestly, I just could probably a card that's going to say to ignore the value. But yeah, otherwise take 1 damage. So you could accidentally kill him, but most likely if he's at 1 health, you're going to be, doing a 7 attack. So, a max of 6 and a max of 7 for Robin is pretty crazy. Yeah, there's only 1 of these there. And it looks like our last card for Robin, a scheme for the Sidekick here. Reconnaissance. It is a 2 boost and there's 1 copy. Choose an opponent that has no opposing fighters in Robin's zone. They choose one of the following. Add 3 cards to their contingency plan, so that's from their hand. Or add 1 random card to their contingency plan, and you may return this card to your hand at the end of the turn. So interesting. So this one does not say random, so if you choose the top one, it's 3 cards of basically their choice they add to their contingency plan. Or they add a random one, and they also may return this card to your hand. So you can just keep kind of spamming this over and over again. You kind of have Robin off to the side, and not only do you get one from your hero ability, but you'll also be getting it from this card here basically every turn if you just keep playing it for 1 and picking it back up. So pretty good. Lots of resources to have a lot of stuff in their contingency plan. Basically, you almost may have their entire hand open to you the entire game. So now let's move on to our any cards. This is both cards that Batman and Robin can use. So the Battering Barrage. This is an attack of 3 for any, and also a boost value of 1. There's going to be 2 of these. And it says, after combat, you may deal 1 damage to an opposing fighter within 3 spaces of this fighter. Attack of 3, so he gives you a big old punch, and then he throws the Battering at you. So definitely pretty good. Also very good for Sidekicks. You ping them off, especially if they're within 3 spaces. So not even just your zone, but 3 spaces. So that's pretty good. So that's the last of the attacks for Ennies. And then this is our Versatile for Ennies with a 3 boost of 1, swinging into action. We have 2 of these. After combat, move your fighter up to 3 spaces. If your fighter is in an adjacent space, then it was when... if your fighter is in a different space, then it was when combat ended, deal 1 damage to any 1 adjacent opposing fighter. Okay, so you could technically, so it doesn't say you can move through opponents, you have to move maybe around them or move from one opponent to the other. But if you end adjacent, you deal 1 more damage. So that's pretty good. You got 2 of those. And then the Dynamic Duo. This is a Versatile of 3, boost 2. You get 2 of these. During combat, if both your fighters are adjacent to each other, or to the opposing fighter, this card is 5 instead. Okay, so the way that's worded is that either Batman and Robin are adjacent to each other, or both Batman and Robin are adjacent to the opposing fighter. But yeah, a 5, and I think it'd be pretty easy to keep them together. Kind of reminds me of one of the new cards that we just found out about, the Wong and Doctor Strange, they're being together. So yeah, I like that. It's 2 of those. And then looks like our last cards here. The Scheme for Any. This is the Batmobile. Obviously, had to include that. It has a boost of 3, and there's 2 copies. Move one of your fighters up to 6 spaces. You may move the chosen fighter through spaces containing opposing fighters and gain 1 action. So this is just basically a free action of moving to 6. Then you just gain that action right back. So pretty good. Definitely 6 spaces can move you basically all across the board. So yeah, pretty awesome. Let's see my final thoughts here. So overall, I'm really happy with this custom fighter here. I think he's very thematic. I love that he is constantly watching the opponent and figuring out what they're going to do, so that whenever they finally do decide to attack them, he can plan accordingly. Also, the fact that if it has a peaceful turn, he gets to sit back and kind of learn some stuff. Same thing with Robin here, had that Reconnaissance card. He can just sit back and, you know, learn some intel of what might be happening next. Also, he hits pretty hard. I haven't played too many games with him, but he does feel pretty balanced. The 12 health really keeps him in check. He can't be, you know, a little too crazy with that. And obviously, you know, Robin only being at 6, he does hit very hard, but, you know, you can take him out pretty fast as well. Also kind of neuters Batman's dynamic duo cards there. So yeah, so if you're interested in getting, you know, Batman the Custom Fighter, I'll leave all the links in the description there. Got him from the Meeplesmith, and then the health dials and the cards themselves, and the Sidekick Token here, all from a Board Game Maker. I'll add those in there. And then if you want to get the artwork here and all the cards, the front faces here are all from Mr. 11 here, his Batman and Robin deck. And then the back side here is from Jack North. So you can keep the original card back, or you can go do what I did and change it up to something you like a little bit better. But yeah, all right, I gotta go. My toast is burning.